My name is Jake. I'm a 36-year-old single man. Ever since I graduated from an elite private college, I've been working at the same company. My workplace is a major corporation with excellent benefits and a generous salary. I'm currently holding a manager position, and I'm truly grateful for it. I want to continue working with dedication and love for my company. Some hear my title and say, "You must be popular with the ladies," but in reality, I've never had a girlfriend my entire life. Honestly, I've always admired women and longed for marriage. But after an incident 20 years ago, I've been hesitant about love. I really like you, Jake. Will you go out with me? At 16, I was called behind the school by a girl I liked, and she confessed her feelings. I felt on top of the world hearing those words. I couldn't believe such a cute girl liked me. Shaking with joy, I responded with a big smile. "Oh, thank you. I've always liked you too. Yes, let's date." But the next moment, I felt like I was thrown from heaven to hell. Gotcha. Prank successful. This is hilarious. Suddenly, a group of other girls appeared from behind the school. The moment I heard the word of prank, everything became clear. This confession was just a prank. Seriously, spare me. Even as a joke, confessing to Jake is so creepy. She said this, looking truly disgusted. Her words froze me in shock. Ignoring my reaction, the girls laughed so hard. It must have been hilarious for them to prank a plain and unimpressive guy like me. This became a popular joke at school, and I was the butt of everyone's laughter. It might have been a fun story for everyone else, but it deeply hurt me. That incident left a deep scar on my heart, and even 20 years later, the trauma from that time still torments me. My coworkers, concerned about me, tried setting up group dates and introducing me to women. But in the end, none of it ever worked out. Even when I finally had a woman in front of me, the shock of that day came back to haunt me, and I was unable to express my feelings properly. I always felt that if I said something, I'd just be ridiculed again. Of course, I know this is just me being paranoid, and I'm probably overthinking things. Nevertheless, it was still difficult to regain confidence once lost. I guess love just isn't for me. I've tried telling myself this, thinking I should just give up on everything. But the recent death of my father made me rethink my family again. Apparently, my father had always been worried about my future. If someone wasn't interested in relationships, or if they were committed bachelors, then there's probably no need to force marriage. But if deep down I wanted to start a family, then maybe I should give it another shot to avoid any regrets. Just as I was contemplating this, my mom suggested arranged dating. Our family, partly because my grandfather was a town council chairman, was regarded as a respected land-owning family in the community. This might be why such a proposal came my way. "Jake, would you consider going on a matchmaking date? We got an invitation from a relative." I felt as if someone had seen right through my heart, and I was taken aback. Maybe my dad up in heaven arranged this because he's worried about me. That's how I chose to interpret it. "Thank you, yeah, I'll give it a shot." My mom seemed surprised by my response, not expecting me to agree. But at the same time, she looked pleased and enthusiastically helped me prepare for the date. And so, the day of the date came. I met the woman in a hotel lounge. Hi, I'm Jake," facing my date, a lady named Emily. I was incredibly nervous. Not just because I'm not great with women, but also because Emily turned out to be even more stunning than I had imagined. "Nice to meet you, I'm Emily." Judging by Emily's reaction, my fears were confirmed. She looked at me with an uninterested, expressionless face. But I guess that's to be expected. From what I heard, Emily is the daughter of the president of a listed company. She currently works as a full-time employee at her father's company. It's hard to imagine that a beautiful woman like her, who's also a CEO's daughter, would find someone like me suitable. I'm not what you'd call handsome, nor am I particularly witty or interesting. My job at a major company probably doesn't impress her, given her background. It's clear from Emily's expression that she's not too interested. Well, it's really nice out today, isn't it? Yes, it's a clear sky. Still, I tried to lighten the mood by making small talk about things like the weather. Even if it wasn't all that entertaining, Emily responded without ignoring me, always with politeness. Just as you'd expect from a CEO's daughter. No matter how mundane the conversation was, she was thoroughly polite. However, the more beautiful and polite Emily was, the more downhearted I felt. This date is a total bust. An hour into the date, I took the check and said, "Thank you for today," to Emily. It was fun. Hope we can meet again. Emily said this too, but it was probably just being nice. I kept stumbling over my words, and Emily's reactions seemed distant. It was hard to say we had a fun chat. "Jake, how was the matchmaking date?" After the date, the matchmaker asked me this, and I shared my honest feelings. Emily is absolutely stunning. Way too good for someone like me, but I'm not great at conversation, and it seemed she didn't enjoy herself. I think we're not a match. Really? Emily said she had a good time. The matchmaker mentioned this, but it was likely just a polite gesture. In reality, I hadn't heard from Emily since, and there's been no progress. Love just isn't meant for me. I thought I'd never see Emily again, but later, I'd have a surprising reunion with her. Starting today, a new employee has been assigned to our department. I hope we can all help each other to train her. Director Steve mentioned this while introducing the new employee, and to my surprise, it was Emily. I was taken aback by this unexpected development. Why on earth would the CEO's daughter transfer to our company? My name is Emily Smith. I'm sure I might cause some inconvenience as I'm still learning, but I kindly ask for your guidance. Saying this, Emily gave a respectful nod. The male employees seemed to be heartened by the fact that she was quite beautiful. However, I was overwhelmed with anxiety, almost panicking. At the failed matchmaking event, I'm sure Emily had formed a negative impression of me. Working in the same department now, what was I supposed to do? But, to my astonishment, Emily approached me during lunch break. "Hi, Jake. It's been a while." Even though I thought our relationship ended after that awkward date, seeing Emily again made my heart race uncontrollably. She was that captivating. But I tried to keep a straight face, not letting her notice my feelings. "Oh, hi Emily. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd see you here at this company." "Yes, about that. Actually, my father asked me to get some hands-on experience. As you can see, I'm not the best at communicating, so he told me to train at another company." Wow, I was shocked hearing Emily's confession. Honestly, I thought I'd never see her again. And to think I'd end up working at the same company like this. That matchmaking date didn't go well at all, and just being with me must have been quite the ordeal for Emily. And yet, she came to this company for training. Her father must be quite strict, I guess. While I was still grappling with my feelings, Emily, with her ever-calm demeanor, continued to explain. "It was a decision made between my father and the company. Only you are aware of this situation to ensure the other employees don't feel uneasy or obliged. So, please keep this between us. I understand. I'm nervous about this new environment, but if you are here, I feel reassured. I hope we can get along well from now on." Saying that, Emily gave an awkward smile and went back to her work. Even now, despite Emily's polite manner of speaking, she was giving off a distant and cold impression. I had the feeling that she might have forced herself to talk to me, which made me feel uncomfortable. Maybe Emily thinks I have something on her. Perhaps she's worried I might blurt out to everyone that she's the CEO's daughter. So, I decided to reassure Emily. Look, Emily, I promise I won't ever spill your secret to anyone. You don't have to be so cautious around me. Huh? What are you talking about? Just that. You don't have to be so kind or go out of your way for me. I'm not the best at conversations, and I feel you might get tired of talking to me. Upon hearing that, a sad expression crossed Emily's face. Why does seeing her like this make my heart feel so tight? Do you feel bothered by me following you around, Jake? What? I was taken aback by Emily's unexpected words. Before the arranged date, I had already heard about training at this company. I wasn't sure about it, but after meeting you, I decided to come here. I thought I could grow in a workplace where there's a sincere and kind person like you, Jake. But it must be annoying for you, having a reserved woman like me always around, right? After hearing Emily's words, I was completely taken aback. The first time I met her, I thought she disliked me. But Emily had a rather positive impression of me. At first glance, she seemed distant, but through our conversation, I discovered a different side of her. Emily, like me, is a bit clumsy. She wants to communicate, but can't convey her feelings well, and can't show her true self to someone she just met. Once I learned this about her, I wanted to know Emily more than ever. It's not like that. I've always felt overlooked by women, so I thought you didn't like me either. That's not true. I had a great time on our date, Jake. I'm honored. I hope we can continue to get along. I'm the department head, so if there's anything you don't know, just ask. That conversation was the turning point for us, and we started to get along. As I learned as I got to know her, it seemed difficult to read her emotions from her facial expressions and tone of voice, and she was often misunderstood by those who met her for the first time. I thought our matchmaking date was a disaster, but Emily seemed to have enjoyed it. She didn't contact me after the date because she was hired by our company and wanted to surprise me. Despite her ice queen appearance, I learned that Emily is actually a straightforward and earnest woman. Moreover, she turned out to be incredibly competent, making a big difference at our company. But from my perspective as the department head, Emily definitely had challenges with communication. She's excellent at her job, but her monotone and expressionless manner sometimes gave others the impression she was apathetic and unsympathetic. Also, Emily was very hardworking, often trying to finish all her tasks by herself. From her perspective, she just wanted to be helpful to everyone. However, others perceived it as if it's up to others. I'll do it because I'm better. Kind of a one-woman show. Indeed, she had a self-sacrificing nature. I, considering others' views as well, shared some work-related advice with Emily. Emily had an open-minded character. She listened to my feedback without taking offense and always tried to make improvements. Here's an example. When Emily was engrossed in her work, she often had a stern look. That look intimidated others, so I came up with a way to lighten her mood. Whenever I saw that look, I'd poke the corners of my mouth with my fingers, prompting her to smile. By doing so, Emily began to smile more. Her smile was so charming, and it gradually changed the way others perceived her. In this way, she became aware of how to speak softly in her own way, and began to report, communicate, and consult with those around her as she went about her work. I also wanted others to see her strengths, so I asked Emily to prepare some meeting materials. The documents Emily created were thorough and easy to understand, impressing our coworkers. The materials Emily made are so clear. It must have taken a lot of effort to create something like this. Seeing her dedication to her job, everyone's perception of her began to change. Emily wasn't just talented, but also a very hard-working and sincere woman. It's been 3 months since she joined the company, and she seemed to fit in better than before. Emily's emotions have always been hard to read, but through her work, the other employees started to appreciate her more. Her sincerity and down-to-earth nature were well received by everyone. Emily took the initiative to improve her communication skills, and compared to when she first joined, she's gotten much better at expressing her thoughts. Seeing her continuous self-improvement, I found myself increasingly drawn to her. Though I've had past traumas regarding romantic relationships, I couldn't help but imagine building a warm home with Emily. We've been out for meals together a few times, and we frequently chat on texting apps or over the phone. She often uses smiley emojis in her messages. I believe she's trying to show me she enjoys our time together. I've grown so fond of her. By now, she's become indispensable to me. The moments we spend together are so comforting that I've found myself wishing we could always be this way. Just when everything seemed to be going smoothly, I noticed that something was off with Emily. She looks fine at first glance, but occasionally she'd have a troubled expression. One day, while we were dining at a restaurant, I asked Emily what was bothering her. "Emily, is something wrong? You seem quite troubled." When I asked her this, Emily, looking puzzled, began to deny it. No, it's nothing. I'm fine. Please don't worry about me." She tried to brush it off, but I could see through her lie. She was probably trying to hide it so I wouldn't worry. But I couldn't leave Emily in this condition. I made it a point to always keep an eye on her from then on. Then one day, I came to understand what had been bothering Emily. One day, there was a meeting with a client in the department I belonged to. At a meeting with a client in my department, Emily was assigned to serve coffee. I decided to check on her in the break room. Suddenly, I heard yelling from inside. It was, shockingly, Steve, director. "Hey, stop dawdling. Hurry up with that coffee. Not only are you slow, but you're also so rude. You're useless." Steve said that, hurling abusive words at Emily. She tried to hold back her tears while preparing the coffee. Seeing this, I was certain that Steve was the source of Emily's distress. It was, in fact, Steve who had assigned Emily the task of serving coffee. He must have been harassing her in such a secluded place. This is pure harassment. I couldn't contain myself and confronted Steve. "Director, what are you doing? We have clients here, and you're speaking to Emily like that. This could be considered harassment, you know." Even after I said this, Director Steve remained unfazed. "I'm just guiding her as her boss. She thinks she's all that because she's somewhat attractive. Such a cold face, so arrogant. Besides, even if you guys report this, my esteemed position won't be affected in the slightest." That's when it happened. "Steve, how could you say such things to the daughter of our client?" "Oh, my daughter is that cheeky, huh? Wait, isn't that Mr. Smith, the CEO of our client, and our CEO?" As soon as our CEO and Emily's father, Mr. Smith, appeared in the break room, Steve turned pale as a ghost. That's right. The client who came to our company today was indeed Emily's father's company. In fact, both men had been informed in advance that something was off with Emily, and both were concerned about her. Steve's loud voice could be heard in the hallway, so the two men had been listening to our conversation from outside the break room. Steve was clearly flustered by this unexpected turn of events. "You mentioned your daughter, Mr. Smith." "Yes, Emily is my daughter, Dad." Perhaps seeing her real father broke the tension for Emily. Emily went over to her father and broke down in tears. It was evident from this reaction just how much stress Emily had been under. Both CEOs gave Steve a contemptuous look. "Steve, we'll be having a thorough discussion about your actions towards her. We'll inform you of any disciplinary measures afterward. Brace yourself." "That's an exaggeration. I was just guiding Emily for her own good." Steve claimed that, but upon speaking with Emily, it became clear about his day-to-day conduct. According to Emily, Steve, who was married, had taken a liking to her beauty and had invited her out privately. Of course, Emily declined his advances. Upon being rejected, Steve began harassing Emily on a daily basis out of spite. Not wanting to cause any concern, Emily hadn't spoken to anyone about it. However, upon talking to other female employees, it was discovered that there were other victims of Steve. He had been approaching several female employees he took a fancy to. There were even women who were pressured into spending the night with him in exchange for favorable job evaluations. This behavior was deemed problematic, and Steve was demoted from his position. He was transferred to a branch office in a remote location. I never imagined I'd get demoted at 50. My wife's left me, my kids have given up on me, and everything looks so bleak. After his demotion and a major pay cut, the director felt as though he had lost everything all at once. Considering he was a family man but still made advances to female coworkers, it's no wonder his family turned their backs on him. It's a classic case of getting what you deserve. It's truly a good thing that his misconduct came to light now, preventing further victims like Emily from being hurt. Emily, if you ever have any problems, remember you don't have to bear them all by yourself. After all, I'm a manager here, so feel free to discuss anything with me. As I said that, Emily looked genuinely remorseful. I'm sorry, you're right. If I had spoken up sooner, we could have addressed the director's behavior much earlier. While the conscientious Emily felt that way, I wanted to convey more than just that. Of course, it was essential for us to be aware of the director's actions. However, what I truly wanted to express was my personal sentiment. I didn't want Emily to suffer alone. I want to be there for you, Emily, no matter how minor your concerns might be. You mean a lot to me, Emily. What? Hearing my words, Emily's cheeks turned a deep shade of red. It seemed she finally understood my feelings. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd have another chance to express my feelings to a woman. I'm not afraid of getting hurt anymore. A determination to convey my feelings to Emily grew within me. I love you, Emily. I truly want to be by your side forever. The moment I said that, Emily looked at me, her face emotionless but with tears glistening in her eyes. In response, I playfully turned up the corners of my lips, like I always do. And as always, she flashed her warm smile back at me. It was even brighter than usual, a smile I was sure I'd never forget. She looked so content and happy in that moment. Though communication has always been a challenge for us, in that instant, I felt we truly connected. Maybe words aren't always necessary for true love,